Defending National League East champs, and until this year ends, they're the team to beat. And even though 2012 has been a terrible year so far for the Phillies, they finally have their team healthy and complete for the first time this year. Atlanta faces off against them in a 3-game set that starts the longest homestand of the season for the Braves, 10 in a row here at Turner Field. The champs and the team looking to supplant them atop the East face off in a weekend showdown here in Atlanta. From beautiful Atlanta, Georgia, it is time for Braves baseball and a big crowd gathering on a cloudy Friday night for Game 1 of our weekend series between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves. And all year long, Braves baseball on Peachtree TV is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price, every day. And good evening, everybody. Along with Joe Simpson and Tom Glavitt, I'm Chip Carey. It's great to be back at the ballpark. The Braves, fresh off a 4-3 road trip tonight, start their longest homestand of the season. And, fellas, this is a homestand laden with opportunity for the homestanding Braves.
Yeah, when you look at the three teams the Braves are going to be playing over the next 10 days, you see two last-place clubs, the Phillies and the Astros. And mixed in between there are the Marlins, who are dismantling their ball club. The Phillies, though, come to town having won 8 of their last 11 games, including 4 in a row, and there's still a team that scares me because they now have their team back together with Utley and Howard. So it's going to be up to Ben Sheets to try to make sure they don't get off to a good start tonight.
Yeah, Ben gets the opportunity to get this homestand off to a good start, and he's been everything and more, I think, that the Braves could have hoped for. And he's gone 12 innings so far, 6 innings both games. A little bit different style of game, pretty relatively stress-free. His first time out against the Mets, 2 hits, 1 walk over 6 innings. His last time out against Washington, a little bit more trouble, 5 hits, 3 walks, pitched in and out of some jams, but he's been what I think you would expect. Not many walks, strikes a lot of guys out, and I, quite frankly, have been surprised with his command, and in that Washington game, his ability to pitch out of trouble. Those are all good signs.
The Braves are 4-2 so far against the Philadelphia Phillies, and they will send the $144 million man, newly extended Cole Hamels, gets the ball for the Fightin' Phillies in Game 1 of our series. Eastern foes face off in Game 1, and we'll get to our lineups and our first pitch in Atlanta right after this. Rollins leading off for the Phillies. And Rollins has a leadoff hit.
For the Braves, Ben Sheets making his third start of the year. 2-0 on the year, seeing nine starts here at Turner Field, 6-3 with a 3.92 ERA coming in. So look for him to do much more of what he's been doing, throwing strikes, striking guys out, and pitching out of jams when he has to.
His 4 keys to pitching success tonight, to follow up on what Tom was saying in our opening comments: stay down, keep the ball down in the zone. This is a good fastball hitting team, so he's got to stay at the bottom of the strike zone. An early threat. This team has outscored the Braves by a large number in the first 3 innings, despite the fact the Braves are 4-2 against them. All of Atlanta's scoring has been after the 3rd inning. So you can see the big differential here in runs in the first 3 innings.
And fellas, as we know, 1, 2, 3 first innings for the Braves starting staff have been a rare commodity so far in the month of July. And Jimmy Rollins, on the second pitch of the game, singles for the Phillies. This is Shane Victorino. Victorino at .253 for the year. And a close play at first. Chases Rollins back. And that's in the air to right center field, and that's going to get down and roll for a while. Rollins around third is going to get green lighted. Victorino turns around second. There'll be no throw to the plate, and the Phillies have scored first in the first. Back-to-back hits makes it 1-0.
Change up, left up. Shane Victorino had only been 1 for 10 in his career against Ben Sheets prior to this double. So as he did in Washington, he's going to have to pitch around some trouble here early on.
And now you're in the middle of the lineup for the Phillies as Chase Utley bats. Utley's played in 21 games. He's had 74 at bats for the Phillies. All kinds of knee problems, as you know. But Joe, to your point, their lineup is now intact, and the Phillies have scored a lot of runs in their last 4 games. Freeman handles a ground ball. Sheets to the bag. Victorino to third with 1 out.
And it's just not just their lineup, Chip. I mean, they got Halladay back off the disabled list too. So their rotation is back intact as well. And they're getting a little better effort out of their bullpen than they were getting early in the year. They got some young guys and some hard-throwing guys that are doing a good job.
Yeah, like you alluded to in the open. I mean, don't be fooled by what their record is right now and where they are in the standings. This is a dangerous club right now because they're coming off a sweep at home. They've got their lineup back together. They're feeling good about who they are for the first time really all year long. And whether or not they get themselves back into this and into contention, they've got some pride. They're going to want to finish strong.
To Tom's point, indeed, the Phillies have won 4 games in a row. All of them were 1-run victories for Charlie Manuel's team. And in that stretch, they averaged over 6 runs a game. Their starters were roughed up, but their bullpen in this stretch has been virtually unhittable.
First 3-game sweep of the season. It came at the expense of Milwaukee, despite the great outing by Zach Greinke, who had shut him out for about 7 innings, and then the Milwaukee bullpen imploded. But good numbers on the road all year long, 24 and 25.
You're right, Chip. It's not how you would expect it to be for a team that's won 4 in a row. Their starting pitching has been hammered a little bit in those games, but their bullpen has been phenomenal. Starting pitchers with a 6.1 ERA and the relievers 1.3.
Ryan Howard slices one foul and out of play, and the count to the big Philly first baseman is 2-2. Here's the Atlanta defensive lineup tonight. Prado, Bourne, and Hayward left to right in the outfield. Chipper's back in at third base. Janish, Ugla, and Freeman join him around the horn. And Brian McCann's behind the plate.
And with respect to their season, coming off that sweep, there are a lot of people around their camp that feel like, and the Phillies feel like, coming to town for this series will say a lot about whether or not are we really going to have a chance to come back, or are the Braves going to put us out of our misery.
Good pitch by Sheets. Howard strikes out. And Victorino's the third with 2 down.
That breaking ball has been really sharp for him over his first 2 starts, and big opportunity right there. Ryan Howard obviously strikes out a lot. Then Sheets strikes a lot of guys out, took advantage of it, and now has a chance to get out of the inning in pretty good shape.
Here's an interesting stat about this team, though, and it goes to the fact that Ryan Howard hasn't been in their lineup for half the season. They are #1 in the National League with fewest strikeouts offensively. Something you wouldn't expect from this team.
Here's another thing you wouldn't expect out of Carlos Ruiz, a .345 batting average in late July. No disrespect to Carlos, he is having a career year at the plate. A lot of damage, a lot of it has come against the Atlanta Braves, and he is our SunTrust solid performer.
Had a 7 RBI game against the Braves here earlier this year.
Two balls and a strike.
And on top of all that, he's been really good with runners in scoring position, so he's taken advantage of these opportunities all year long.
That's another reason why Ruiz was a National League All-Star this year. 3-1. And Sheets walks him. They're at the corners with 2 outs.
Tom, when you guys would have your meetings before a series with a team like the Phillies who have such offensive firepower, would you go over things like right there with Ruiz? He's been a hot hitter all year. Hunter Pence is real cold right now, even though he's driving in some runs. Would you talk about pitching around the hot guy?
Yeah, I know a lot of guys wanted to know beyond what was going on for the year who's doing what right now, and there are times during the course of the year where some guys got it going and some guys don't, so you wanted to know that. And even if for Ben Sheets, even if he had success against him when he was with the Brewers, there might be something about having that Braves jersey on that Carlos Ruiz likes, and you want to know those things. So absolutely pitch around him right there and take your chances.
And Pence will ground out to second. Ugla flips to Giannis, and that will retire the side. Ben Sheets minimizes some first inning damage, but the Phillies have struck first for Cole Hamels. Number 100 on the 2012 schedule tonight. And here's how the Braves line up to face Cole Hamels with Bourne, Prado, and Jason Hayward. Chipper, Freeman, and McCann. Then Dan Ugla, Paul Giannis, and Ben Sheets.
For the Phillies, Cole Hamels making his 20th start on the year, 11-4 with a 3.23 ERA. making his 200th career start in the big leagues, and as Chip mentioned in the open, coming off a big new contract, so we'll see how that affects tonight's game.
6 years, $144 million, and his 4 keys to pitching success. Number 1, don't trip on your wallet. Caused serious injury going out to the mound, and there's no fish here. This year he's 0-3 against the Miami Marlins. He's 11-1 against everybody else. So that should make him feel kind of good.
I'll bet Cole knows this is game number 99. However, instead of 100, my bad.
I'll bet he doesn't.
I'm sure he can count real well lately.
Yes, after that gigantic contract. You guys surprised that Hamels re-signed with the Phillies?
I'm not. No, I mean, I think this is a rotation that he wants to be a part of.
I was a little bit surprised. He's from Southern California, and I thought he might try the market out and see what the Dodgers or San Diego might come up with, so he could go home.
Well, he is part of a great rotation, no doubt about that, but also now part of a very heavy payroll with this Philadelphia ball club. 2-2 to Michael Bourne. And that's pulled foul past first. They've got roughly $95 million allocated for 4 players next year.
And they've already said that they will probably go over the threshold for the payroll tax, and they're willing to do that for 1 year, or for the first time in their history.
Hamels strikes out Bourne looking. 1 away in the Braves first. And here's the Philadelphia defense. Pierre, Victorino, and Pence left to right in the outfield. Mike Fontenot is in for an injured Placido Polanco at third base. Rollins, Utley, and Howard. Ruiz behind the plate. And here's Martin. A .304 average, 5 homers, and 42 knocked in.
Oh, by the way, Cole Hamels is pretty good, too.
Yeah.
He's got plus pitches from a lot of different types. Low 90s fastball, decent curveball, but one of the best changeups in the game. About the most wins in the National League since '06. Did you know that?
That was not on my radar. Toward third, Fontenot will handle. And Howard at the bag handles for out number 2. And here's Jason. Hayward at 270, 15 homers, 48 driven in. And he's knocked in 2 runs against the Phillies this season.
Hamels made a first. Sorry, Chip. Hamels made a start against the Braves here on May 1st. Got no decision, but only gave up 2 runs to the Braves in 6 innings and struck out 6. Brian McCann touched him for a home run. The Phillies did win the game 4-2.
Nothing in 2 for Jason.
Throws a lot of cutters too, doesn't he?
He does. That's a pitch that I think he's really developed more and more over the years and gotten more and more confident with it. Started to throw his changeup inside the left-handers a little bit too, so after that fastball in right there. See if that was what he was trying to set up.
And Jason swings late. Very impressive first inning for Cole Hamels. He retires the Braves in order. Leads 1-0. Presented by Blimpie. Joe Tom and Chip with you from Turner Field. Phillies 1, Atlanta 0 as we head to the second. Juan Pierre will lead things off for Philadelphia. This guy's had a terrific career, and this year hitting .308
and a good on-base percentage.
Chipper figured Pierre to be bunting and blows him out.
When you've been around as long as Chipper has, you know when you have to hurry and when you don't. And he was anticipating this, so he didn't have to make a barehanded play. That was an easy one. See the guys kind of taking deep breaths and saw McCann in the dugout. It's not oppressively hot, but man, there is no air tonight.
Yeah, it's just kind of sitting there right on top of you tonight. It's not going anywhere.
Jimmy Rollins came back to the dugout after he scored on that double, and it took him a while to regroup.
Fouled away by Mike Fontenot. Count evens to him. 1 ball, 1 strike. In the air to center. Michael Bourne tracks it down. That's the second out. EarthSense programs from Georgia Power can help you save money, use energy more efficiently, and help the environment. To find out more about EarthSense programs from Georgia Power, log on to georgiapower.com. Cole Hamels bats with the bases empty. And is a good hitting pitcher.
Yeah, 11 hits, a double, and a home run included.
Home run was part of a little rarity his last time out against the Giants. McCann got him, and in good fashion, he turned around and got McCann back.
And according to the Elias Sports Bureau, they say that was the first time ever that 2 pitchers were selected as all-stars in a season, homered against each other in the same game. But Sheets takes care of Cole Hamels with 3 pitches. Ben's second strikeout. This game moves to the bottom of the second inning. It'll start with Chipper Jones and Freddie Freeman and Brian McCann down an early run. Outdoors by AT&T, by Delta Airlines. Brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT&T, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. Big cheer for Chipper, who goes to work in the bottom of our second inning. Chipper sports a .313 batting average. And with the Braves playing tonight, their 7th game against the Phillies, and Braves winning 4 of those. Chipper's only had 12 at bats so far against Philadelphia. And this ball driven right center. It's tailing away from Victorino. Shane can't get it. Chipper rounds first, is on his way to second. The throw's off target. And a leadoff double.
I don't want to put words in Chipper's mouth, but I've heard him talk about Cole Hamels before. And with all due respect to Cliff Lee and to Roy Halladay, Chipper has a lot of respect for Cole Hamels and his ability, and especially that changeup. He knows how tough it is.
Yeah, got to pitch up a little bit right there and drove it into right center field and show a little bit of his cold speed right there. Kicked it into gear when he had to.
13th double for Chipper. Career extra base hit 1,040. He's one behind Pete Rose.
Get him over, get him in.
And downstairs for Freddie Freeman. He's knocked in 60 men, batting .273. Brian McCann's our Delta Airlines on deck batter, and look at that statistic. Homers in 5 straight games against the Phillies.
Phillies feel about him like the Braves feel about some opponents where they just can't figure out how to get him out. Talked to Freddie Freeman before the game and asked him about his finger. And he said the day off yesterday really did him some good. It felt pretty good today, but it's still nagging him. And anytime he hits a ball off the end of the bat, it sends shockwaves through that finger.
Snap throw back to second, and Chipper's picked off.
Good timing on the part of Jimmy Rollins to dart in there. I got to say, he's 40 years old. I don't ever remember seeing him get picked off before. I'm sure it's happened, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, and it's, you know, looking at the replay, I thought initially, well, maybe I didn't see it live. I thought maybe he was thinking about taking a base or stealing or whatever and got caught, but that was just good timing and a good throw.
Freeman walks, and here is Brian McCann. Hamels doesn't walk many. He strikes out a lot of guys. That's only Cole's 34th walk in 134 innings.
7 of those homers and 16 of those RBIs are in July for Brian McCann. I got something for you on Mac tonight. I was talking to him by the cage today. Remember that home run he hit in the 10th inning against the Giants in the second game of that series, opposite field?
Line drive right center. Victorino's got that.
That was the first at bat he's had with an ash bat. This home run was with an ash bat, first time ever. And he said, Chipper's been on me for 6 years to get off the maple and get onto ash. So right here, watch the reception from Chipper. And as Chipper said today around the cage when Mac was just killing the ball in batting practice, Chipper says, yeah, that's fine. Don't listen to the old guys. They don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah. Should have listened earlier.
Here's Dan. Casual fans might be surprised to know that hitters do feel a difference between the ash bat and the maple bat.
He said he felt a definite difference, especially just in balance and feel. But maple grain typically is real close together and sometimes a little wavy. Look at this bat. This is ash. Look at the width of the grain on this bat. That is an awesome bat. The wider the grain, the better. And he's making good use of it right now.
Hamels falls behind Dan Uggla. 3 balls, no strikes. Another walk. 2 in the inning. Braves shortstop Paul Giannis a chance to even the score or perhaps better. Braves down a run. Shane Victorino doubled home Jimmy Rollins.
I know Chipper just got picked off at second base, but Freddie Freeman's got to get a good lead here with the pitcher on deck. If Giannis does drop one in, he needs to score.
Yes, he's got to get an aggressive secondary lead here, and you're right, try and do everything he can on a base hit to score, or you know, worst case scenario, get thrown out at the plate, but he's got to try and force the issue if they get the opportunity.
Hamels is 28, 6'3", listed at 200 pounds. He looks a lot slimmer than 200 pounds. And he has not been without a few trips to the disabled list. Once for some elbow irritation, and a couple of different times, different years with shoulder problems. And one of those was last year.
And that's inside to load the bases. So Ben Sheets a chance to really help himself. That's Ben's career batting average, 34 hits and 439 at bats.
Well, Hamels is struggling to throw strikes. He's clearly not on his game in that respect right now. He's been hit or miss, and if I'm Ben Sheets, I'm taking at least one strike right here.
His season high is 3 walks. He's walked 3 this inning.
And swinging.
Just like I said, take a pitch.
Well, that's kind of taking for Ben.
Now, as a pitcher, though, you're thinking, all right, he's walked 3 guys. He's going to lay a cookie in there for me.
It's kind of like Burley the other night, though, down in Miami. He never walks anybody. And he did the Braves a favor and walked 4 that particular game and hadn't walked more than 3 all year.
Ground ball toward third, and it's under the glove of Fontenot, and the game is tied.
You could see that one coming. A little bit of an in-between hop, and Fontenot laid back on it.
You saw right there, he kind of took that step forward and then laid on his heels a little bit and let the ball play him. And big break for the Braves.
They cash in 3 walks and an error. Now the top of the order. Bourne, base hit left field. Ugla will score. Everybody else still safely aboard. It's 2-1 Atlanta.
Everybody in baseball knows that Juan Pierre has a very weak throwing arm. And under other circumstances, you might have seen the Braves try to score 2 runs on this hit. But Juan was playing real shallow for Michael Bourne and got it in quickly. And Giannis would have been a dead out. So a good job there by Brian Snitker to read that.
Yeah, that, and you've got Martin Prado coming up too. So rather than take a, had it been the bottom of the order, yeah, they probably send him and take a chance on that arm. But with Martin Prado in the middle of the order coming up, don't run into an out at home plate.
So good to see a left-handed bat do some hitting damage against the left-handed pitching Hamels. Now, as you fellas said, here's Martin, who's killed lefties all year. Chance for a big number in this second inning. .348 against lefties.
Seems to be having a problem to that lane, Tommy.
Yeah,
we've been using your description a lot lately, and I like it.
Into the lane, yeah. He's having a hard time getting it over there for some reason. I don't know if he's trying to muscle it in there or what he's doing. That side of the plate seems a little bit freer and easier going there, but that happens sometimes when you struggle, particularly on the non-arm side for a pitcher. You start trying to force the ball in there, you muscle up on it, and that's what you see happening a lot of times. Instead of getting it closer to the plate, you hold on longer and pull it even further.
And that will retire the side, but the Braves cash in 3 walks and an E5. And Michael Bourne added an RBI single. We are through 2. Ben Sheets and the Braves now lead the Phillies 2-1. Braves, Atlanta 2, Phillies 1 after 2 in Atlanta. And it's time for our McDonald's Fans of the Game.
I like that. Got Braves jerseys on, Braves shirts, and you got the flag for the Olympics tonight cranking up. That family's got it covered.
And we've got an Olympian on the mound tonight.
Yeah, that's
Ben
right.
Sheets pitched in the Olympics. He's facing Jimmy Rollins for the second time tonight.
Threw a shutout in the gold medal game against Cuba.
That's out of play, foul, and Rollins behind 0-2. From 0-2 to 3-2 now to Jimmy Rollins. Fellas, even though Rollins' batting average is lower than you'd expect, 271, among National League shortstops, second in runs and extra base hits, second in doubles, third in total bases, and fifth in homers.
Yeah, I think he's had a good year. I mean, this is his first year of his new 3-year deal with them. And all things considered, I think he's had a very good year.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to maybe look at his numbers and compare them to other years, but it's awful hard to compare to what he's had to deal with offensively this year with so many guys out of the lineup, and you don't know how much he's trying to take on. And
he's going to pop up the chipper and foul ground at third base. Always good to start an inning with retiring Jimmy Rollins. 1 out. Victorino doubled Rollins home in the first inning. All the talk about what the Phillies were potentially going to do at the deadline, this guy's name seemed to be popping up all over the place on the trade rumor mills.
That may be what their thinking is with respect to, hey, are the Braves going to put the Phillies out of their misery, or are they really going to have a legitimate shot at one of the wild card berths? And that may dictate what they do with Victorino.
Well, make no mistake about it, this is a huge road trip for the Phillies. 3 here with the Braves. They go to Washington for 3 after this series. Ground ball to second. And 2 are out.
And supposedly one of the big names is off the market. It's been done, and the winner of the lottery is the Los Angeles Angels. They're going to get Zach Greinke for the number 2 prospect in the Angels system, and John Segura. Pitcher John Helwig is number 4 in their system, and number 9 is Ariel Pena. Number 2, number 4, number 9 out of the Angels system for Greinke.
I'm sure they tried to get the number 1 prospect. That was Mike Trout. I don't think he was available.
Yeah.
that's a pretty hefty price to pay.
Yeah, you look at the Angels. They're 5 games behind Texas, so that helps them and hurts Texas all at once.
Yeah.
And Artie Moreno spent all that money to get Albert Pujols. They're going for it with Zach Greinke.
There's a twofold problem right there. You said hurts Texas. Well, it would have really hurt the Angels if Texas had gotten him.
Right.
Because they were reportedly backing up the truck to do whatever they needed to do to get Greinke.
One ball, 1 strike for Chase Utley. And he lines one foul past first. Utley didn't play a game for the Phillies until late June. He's hit 4 homers and 13 RBIs since June 27th.
And I know as an opponent, the Braves certainly don't miss him when he's not in the lineup, but from up here, I miss watching him play because he's one of my favorite hitters to watch. He's got such a great swing, so easy, so compact, great use of his hands.
For me, Joey's baseball's version of Fred Couples.
That's a good one because there's just no extra energy expanded in his swing, and yet the ball just flies off his bat. Great bat speed.
In the air to center, it's carrying out toward Michael Bourne, who's just shy of the track, and Sheets has a 1-2-3 inning, and more importantly, a 2-1 lead. Half of our third inning.
Ben Sheets off to a good start despite the first 2 hitters touching him up for a run. He's settled in since then, avoided any more damage. And Michael Bourne with a clutch single.
And the key play, E5 on Mike Fontenot. Goes off the bat of Ben Sheets and scored the Braves' first run. Here's Hayward. Jason struck out to end the Atlanta first.
Looking at the Braves notes, that's a good news that the Michael Bourne scored a run and has a hit. The Braves are 35-13 when he has at least 1 hit and scores 1 run in the game. So, good sign.
It is a good sign, and he's up near the top of the league in RBIs for leadoff men too.
We've talked all year long, it seems, about what he means to that offense and how he gets it going, and that just, you lose sight of it sometimes when you see numbers like that. It really backs up what he's been doing and what he means to this offense.
Chipper and others called him the MVP of the first half.
One ball, 2 strikes. Hayward is down on strikes for the second time. And guys, as consistent as Michael Bourne has been, the Braves have been wildly inconsistent depending on the day of week on which they play. Look at this oddity on our Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's you know, the polar opposite of Mondays, which if anybody could have an explanation for why that's going on, trust me, they'd do something about it. But that's what makes this game so crazy. You just don't, things like that, just there's no explanation for it.
Both of those Friday losses have been at home, and both of them have come to the Washington Nationals. But there are a lot of people that says this team compares favorably to that 1906 Cubs team. A lot of similarities.
I'll take your word for that.
Well, you can look it up. That 06 Cubs team, though, they weren't very good on Saturday afternoons or Sunday afternoons.
But it's Fridays football.
Yeah, it's the start of the weekend. Get off to a good start.
They were TGIF.
Didn't get the fastball. 2-2. And that got the outside corner. Hamels has struck out 3 straight men.
2 of them on that pitch. You got Prado in the second inning. With what looked like a cutter, and that one same thing.
Yeah, a little backdoor cutter or backdoor slider there, and that's a little bit of the cat and mouse game. He tried to go in on Chipper his first at bat, didn't get it in. He hit a double on him. He struggled on that side of the plate, and with 2 strikes, he made an adjustment and went back to the other side and got him looking.
And now he's a strike throwing machine. Freeman walked and scored the first Braves run. Oh, that one down away from Hamels.
He never flinches until he has to. And lefties.
Walks for the second time. Now Brian McCann, who lined out his first time up. Make this man work. It's hot, it's muggy. He's a Southern California guy. Yes, he pitches in Philadelphia. Let's wear this man down. As Tommy mentioned, the Phillies starting staff of late has been hit hard.
Ruben Amaro's here, the GM for the Phillies. He's probably sitting in his box tonight going, oh great, I gave him 6 years and $144 million and he's turned into Oliver Perez.
I don't think he's going to go there yet.
That one gets away from Ruiz. It's off his glove, and Freeman moves to second. Yeah, well, before you put Hamels in the Oliver Perez category, his career high in walks for a single game is 5. Last time that happened was in June of 2007.
So I guess he's not there yet.
Not quite.
Okay.
But does guys, a man like Cole Hamels, first game since he signed the deal, is that any way, shape, or form in his head going out there tonight?
If he's human, it is. There's no way it can't be. I don't care who you are. If you have pride in yourself and respect for the game and the fans, you want to prove you're worth a contract like that. So you do take it out there.
And here are the big numbers for Cole Hamels and the rest of the highest paid starters in Major League Baseball. That's our Georgia lottery literally hitting the jackpot.
Absolutely it is. Only CC Sabathia with a bigger deal. You know, I was looking at the list of top 5 contracts to pitchers, I think, coming into this year, and it still had Mike Hampton in there for his deal. I don't know that they had included McCann in his new deal, but I was surprised to see that Hampton's deal was still included in there. So that was a long time ago.
And I'll bet before too long you might see Zach Greinke's name on that list with an Angels hat on it. Just that today the Brewers traded him to Los Angeles in the American League for 3 minor league prospects. All of them very highly touted by Baseball America.
Those 3 of their top 10, right?
Yes.
Yes.
What's he do here? He has a base open, right-handed hitter on deck.
Fly ball shallow left. Pierre coming on and gets there to retire the side. Cole Hamels has been wild. He's issued 4 walks, but he struck out 5 as well. And he's down a run. Very important homestand for the Braves tonight. We have 2 more with the Phillies over the weekend. Don't forget, tomorrow night, a night game between these 2 clubs, and that's our Jameson and upcoming schedule.
On the air at 6:30. Blanton and Minor. First pitch at 7:10. And Roy Halladay and Tim Hudson. Boy, that'll be a nice matchup Sunday afternoon.
Ben Sheets has settled in. He's set down the last 7 Phillies. And he's greeted by Ryan Howard. And fires ball 1. Pop fly, left field, Martin and Chipper, and no play.
With the shift on, that was a long way for Chipper to go, but he was striding it out pretty good.
Now McCann and Sheets.
This is giving Chipper a breather.
I was going to say, usually they do that for the pitcher when it's a foul ball and he had to cover first. Now they're doing it for the old man over there at third base, giving him a breather.
One and two for Howard.
A little bit of breeze that's picked up, blowing out toward right center.
And Ryan swings and misses. That's the third strikeout for Sheets. 8 in a row have been set down.
He's always had a good hook.
Yeah, he has, and it's been sharp since his first start back. You know, it doesn't look like he's lost any bite, any command, or any confidence in that pitch.
And as a hitter, Joe, you know it's coming and you still can't hit it. That's exceptional.
He can throw it a couple of different speeds too. He can take a little off of it and kind of loop it in there for like a get over breaking ball first pitch strike, or he can throw it hard like he just did to Ryan Howard. Make you look silly.
1-0 to Carlos Ruiz, the catcher. He walked in the opening inning. And a line drive down the left field line. Big turn. Here comes a throw towards second, and it's late. A double for Ruiz. And he represents the tying run.
You don't want to make a fastball mistake to that guy, and you certainly don't want to make a fastball mistake up there. I think the saving grace there is that we kept it in the ballpark.
Stayed in the ballpark.
Ruiz leads all National League catchers in hits, doubles, runs, extra base hits, and total bases.
First pitch too, wasn't it? Which is pretty typical. It was second.
Oh, it was a 1-0 count. Yeah, that's right. First strike. First pitch he could swing at.
Yeah.
Here's Hunter Pence. Despite Hunter's troubles, and we showed you, he's now 7 for his last 53. Hitting about 350 with runners in scoring position during that stretch. This is a dangerous matchup for Ben Sheets. Not this time as Giannis handles it short. No advance by Ruiz. Pence is 0 for 2. Braves fans, the Marlins are coming to town starting Monday night, July 30th. It's a 4-game series. Get your tickets to see Chipper and the Braves face off against the division rival Marlins. Call 800-745-3000 or visit Braves.com/tickets today. Marlins are home to San Diego tonight and leading early 2-0. Ball to Juan Pierre.
So the Braves did sign a player today, though, correct? Or the talk about Miguel Batista, who had been released by the Mets.
That's my understanding. They signed him and sent him to AAA Gwinnett. Peter Moylan was also promoted to Gwinnett. And a line drive into right field is handled by Jason Hayward. Sheets is through 4 innings with the lead. We'll talk more about the Braves' busy transaction day when we come back to Atlanta after this. For the Phillies as we head to the bottom of the fourth inning. And fellas, here are our Home Depot tools from the GM's office.
That would be exactly what happened today in several moves. Miguel Batista signed, as we said, to a AAA contract. Peter Moylan was promoted to Gwinnett and then placed on the DL. He's got a little tendonitis in his shoulder that he's going to work through. Should be able to come off the DL pretty soon, and that's a good sign. And Sean Gilmartin, the #1 pick a couple of years ago, or was it last year, promoted to AAA from Jackson.
Dan Ugla swings the first pitch, and Chase Utley gets him at first. And one away in this fourth inning. 5 strikeouts, 4 walks for Cole Hamels, and one of the subtle things, guys, a manager can do is manipulate his lineup to maybe, Tommy, make the opposing starter uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would imagine that this Braves lineup that he's facing today, he's seeing more left-handers than he's accustomed to seeing, and what ends up happening, I know at least from my standpoint, I used to love it when people would load up right-handed hitters against me, because then I only had to worry about one side of the plate, and you could get locked in on your game plan, locked in on what you were trying to do. And I always felt a little bit more uncomfortable when there'd be more left-handers sprinkled in there, because now you couldn't settle in on one set thing. You had to bounce from one side of the plate back and forth all the time, and never really felt like you settled in on one pitch or that one lane. And I'm wondering here, watching this game, where Cole's a little out of sorts. He's coming off a little bit of a strange outing his last time out. He gave up 10 hits and 3 home runs. I'm sure there's some things that he's tinkering with, and I guarantee you that his last bullpen session was probably thought in terms of, all right, I'm going to see a predominantly right-handed lineup like I usually do, and I'm going to work on that part. But now he's had more left-handers sprinkle in than he's probably accustomed to.
And he has issued his 5th walk. And Tom, here's some of his earlier bases on balls.
Yeah, and it just, that at bat right there, it just looks like he's not, just doesn't have that feel that he's looking for. This at bat with Ugla, he walked him on 4 straight. It was almost like he was trying to pitch around him. But it's you see, particularly that glove side of the mound that he's having a hard time getting to, and I think partly because he's really hasn't had seen that steady flow of right-handed hitters where he can lock in on that inside corner against the righties.
And here we are with a man aboard, 1 out in the 4th inning. Hamels has thrown more balls than strikes.
And tied his career high in walks.
And he's behind 2-0 to Ben Sheets.
And you can see he's just proverbial, behind the mound, have a little timeout with yourself, try and gather yourself, get things going. I mean, he's searching for something out there right now and hasn't been able to find it.
And when you know the guy's bunting or showing bunt, all you got to do is throw a strike. That's sometimes the hardest pitch to throw.
I mean, you can hear everybody screaming at you, it's the pitcher, just throw a strike. Well, that's a lot easier said than done sometimes.
There's one, 3 balls and a strike.
Here's one of those situations too, like the pickoff with Chipper, where Giannis has got to be careful, because you want to try and get a good jump and take advantage, but you got to be careful if you bunch through it with Ruiz's arm.
That's popped to Ryan Howard, and that's out number 2. So Ben unable to move Giannis into scoring position. Michael Bourne bats with a runner at first now. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI single.
This to me is an obvious stolen base opportunity attempt. 2 outs, even with a left-handed pitcher. If you get thrown out, you still have Bourne leading off the next inning.
Giannis a short lead at first. Again, Hamels missing inside to that left-handed hitter, Michael Bourne.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Joe. From a pitcher standpoint, no disrespect to Martin, but it's a different mentality if you're going out there facing the number 2 hitter starting the next inning versus the leadoff hitter. Because even with Martin, as well as he's swinging the bat, there's a few less things to worry about, so to speak. You're not worrying about a bunt or an infield hit or then having to hold him on and all those other things that come along with Michael's speed.
Two and two.
Here are those RBI numbers for Michael Bourne by comparison. Guys that are typical leadoff hitters. Rafael Furcal only ahead by 1 in that category. Jimmy Rollins third.
Now Giannis will run with a full count. There he goes. And Michael pops one down the left field line. Juan Pierre is there in foul territory. And he makes the play and a friend in the front row. Cole Hamels has walked a career high tying 5. 2 of those men have scored. That's one reason why the Braves lead.
Looks like an Arizona sky. It's pretty in either place.
So far, neither pitcher has been hammered. Just 5 hits combined through 4 innings. Hamels very wild with 5 walks. 2 of them have scored. Now Ben Sheets faces Mike Fontenot, who committed a critical error at third base that allowed Atlanta to tie the game at 1. That is foul past first. Phillies this year have used 4 different men to play third base. This is Fontenot's 9th start over there. Ty Wigginton has started 20 games. Luna has started 1. Placido Polanco's played 70 times and is out with bad back.
Were they in a better position in the standings, you might see the Phillies out trying to corral a third baseman somewhere. Maybe the Chase Headley sweepstakes.
And a swing and a miss by Fontenot. That's the 4th strikeout for Ben Sheets. Good start to our 5th inning. Trivia time, fellas. Our AT&T Uverse trivia question. Since 1991, Pierre's one of only 2 players to record 2,000 or more hits, 1,000 or more runs, and 500 or more stolen bases. Can you name the other man to do that?
2,000 hits. I didn't know Juan had 2,000 hits.
Nice play, Freddie. Sheets to the bag. 2 out.
I don't know anybody that plays the position better than this guy. And that includes Mark Teixeira. Get an argument from Yankee fans that Mark's the best in the American League. Certainly, I would have to argue that Freddie doesn't have anybody better than he is in either league.
I would agree with that. He makes all the plays he should, and then he makes a few spectacular ones, and that one he made look a lot easier than it was.
A strike to Jimmy Rollins. Well, let's ponder the career of Juan Pierre a little more. He's been a terrific player, quite obviously with the numbers we were talking about just a moment ago. He is baseball's active leader in stolen bases and 22nd all-time in the history of the game.
He's had a terrific career, and by all accounts, anybody that I know that I ask about, he's a great teammate, certainly a good citizen.
I've heard nothing but good things about him, and he's just one of those guys that quietly shows up and does his job.
Now 3 balls and a strike for Jimmy Rollins. And that one's ripped into the right field corner. Jason Hayward will play it off the fence. And Jimmy Rollins has a 2-out double, his 2nd hit of the game.
Another fastball that looked like it was up. And boy, Jimmy Rollins has always been able to hit a fastball. Short, quick swing. Not a whole lot unlike the pitch to Ruiz.
Exactly. Guys, good fastball hitters. You throw that fastball belt high, they're going to do some damage with it.
Victorino doubled him home in the 1st. He bats here with 2 outs. Strike 1. Little roller right side. Gotta hurry, Ben, and he gets to the bag ahead of Victorino. Ben Sheets is through 5 innings with the lead, and Martin Prado leads off for Atlanta, trying to extend a 1-run lead. bottom of the 5th inning with our 2 medalists, Joe Simpson and Tom Glavine, on this opening night of the Olympics evening here at Turner Field, which was, of course, Olympic Stadium. Delta Airlines, proud sponsor of the Atlanta Braves. Martins 0 for 2. He'll be followed by Jason Hayward and Chipper Jones. A pop fly foul. Strike 1 for Martin.
Do you remember where you were on the opening night of the Olympics here in Atlanta? Not that they were on the same date as this. I don't think they were, but do you remember where you were?
I do.
I do too. And you were?
San Francisco.
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Oh, well, maybe that was on another eventful evening of the Olympics when they were here in Atlanta.
Because I remember watching Muhammad Ali. I was sitting in a hamburger joint with Don Sutton in Houston, and we were anxious to find out who was actually going to light the torch when Muhammad Ali came out.
Fly ball to left, but Pierre is going to catch that. And there's the first out.
And it was a good burger.
And 1 away. And here is the Olympic resume of Brave starter Ben Sheets. That's the last out.
That's a great picture, isn't it?
Pretty impressive. 3-hit shutout against Cuba.
You know it.
And if I'm not mistaken, baseball's not in the Olympics anymore, right?
Nope. Right. I think I heard something about it coming back as an exhibition sport, like as a test to see if they might put it back in, but not in the exhibition part's not until the next Olympics in 16.
Well, we'll just have to suffer and force ourselves to watch beach volleyball.
Yeah, do our best.
Meanwhile, Hamels behind another lefty hitter, 3-0. New career high for Hamels, 6 walks. And with 1 out, Hayward's aboard for Chipper. What does Chipper look for the 3rd time around against Hamels?
I think he looks for, makes Hamels throw him a strike, get the ball up, lay off the cutter early. He's struggling to throw strikes. See if he can get him into a count where he's got to elevate a pitch.
Exactly. You got to make him show you he can throw strikes, and if he does, wait for a mistake.
Fly ball hammered left center field. That one's going to get down. That one's going to bounce into the stands for a double.
Dang it. Got the fastball, Tom. Didn't miss it. But it cost the Braves a run when this bounced out.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate bounce right there. But like we said with Ruiz and Jimmy Rollins on the other side, when they got fastballs up in the zone, what they did, and Braves fans have seen time and time again what Chipper can do with a fastball up over the plate. He hammered that ball to left center field and needed to hit it a foot further so it would have caught the wall on the bounce.
And look who he caught on the extra base hits list for switch hitters. Tied with Pete Rose.
I don't care what the category is. If you tie Pete Rose in something, that's big time.
So Great chance for the Braves here with Freeman up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Got that one above his hands and had something on it. Here's where, as a young hitter, it's hard to do, but you got to survey the landscape a little bit. You know how tough Hamels can be, but the infield's playing back. Sacrifice fly gets him in. A ground ball to the right side gets a run in.
And you take a page out of Chipper's book and be patient. Make him throw you a strike.
There's a good eye. 2-2. Do it again. Jeremy Horst is up in the Phillies bullpen as Hamels right around 100 pitches already. And high stress pitches all night. And he didn't get the corner. Full count.
His shortest outing of the year is 5 1/3 innings, and that was his first start of the year. 6 innings, the shortest since then.
Same thing here. Be a little bit patient. He's struggling to throw strikes, but he doesn't have to throw a strike here.
And he did. Over the outside corner. Freddie's called out on strikes.
I don't know. That was a borderline pitch.
Oh, boy.
That's the pitch you usually get when you've established that you're in the strike zone, but not the pitch you typically get when you're having trouble finding the strike zone. I think he got the benefit of the call right there.
And he hadn't been getting that call.
So now McCann hits with runners second and third, 2 outs, and the Braves up a run.
And didn't get it there.
Nope.
Well, we've seen some odd pitching lines these last 2 games. Cole Hamels tonight, 6 walks, 6 strikeouts. How about Tommy Hansen's outing against the Marlins the other day? 7 walks, 7 strikeouts, and he allowed just 1 run.
Gave up 7 stolen bases.
High drive, hammer deep right center. Victorino going back. Track, wall. He's done it again.
He was dropping ball after ball into that batter's eye out there, straightaway center, just crushing balls. That one was hit so high, I didn't know if it could get out of here.
Yeah, he weren't sure it was going to have enough on it. He hit it hard, but weren't sure it was going to carry far enough, but it did.
6 straight games with a home run against the Phillies. And I'd say if you're swinging maple on that Braves bench, you better start looking at some ash.
A mash with the ash for Brian McCann. And it's now a 5-1 5th inning lead for the Braves. Might be looking at the player of the month of July.
Talked to Greg Walker today about Dan Uggla and what they're working on, and he said Dan has came in today and spent a long time looking at video going back as far as when he was with the Marlins. And one of the things they've been trying to do, and they worked on today, was trying to get a little more weight on his front foot so that he's not falling back quite so much. And it was something, looking at some of the video from Florida, that really clicked with Dan. made him realize that he'd just been falling back on that back leg and collapsing too much.
High fly down the left field line. Juan Pierre in the corner will run out of room.
Here's that swing by Brian McCann again. Just perfect timing, got it out front. And that ash will give you about 4 or 5 more feet.
"17 homers, 54 driven in for McCann, and a 5-1 lead. The Phillies riding Cole Hamels here up to 108 pitches. 6 walks in the game, 3 of them scored. And a swing and a miss. Retires the side. Brian McCann's July offensive rampage has continued. He homers against the Phillies for the 6th consecutive game head-to-head. And this 3-run blast extends Atlanta's lead to 5-1 after 5. Especially against the Phillies. A big home run extends the lead to 5-1.
Ben Sheets gave up hits to the first 2 batters of the ball game, a single and a double that produced the Phillies' only run, and now he's got a little breathing room.
Ben started with a 12-inning scoreless streak for the Braves. That ended, as Joe mentioned, very quickly in the first inning. But since then, he's been terrific. There's 2 base runners for the Phillies after the first inning, doubles by Ruiz and Rollins. He struck out 4. He's walked 1. "71 pitches for Sheets so far tonight. Ground ball to Freeman at first. Freddie's got that. Chase Utley's 1 for 14 against Braves pitching so far in 2012. All year long, Braves baseball on Peachtree TV is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, low price every day. Joe Simpson, Tom Glavine, Chip Carey at Turner Field. Ben Sheets trying to go 3-0 in his first 3 starts in an Atlanta uniform. Ryan Howard bats. He has struck out twice.
Well, what a pickup this guy is. With all the talk about trying to make deals and through trades or whatever means, to sign this guy who wasn't pitching and have him get off to this kind of start is remarkable. What a find.
Yeah, really been fun to watch. And, you know, you keep your fingers crossed, obviously, that he's going to stay healthy. If he does, I think he can continue to do what he's doing, but you don't know what the health part of it.
Ground ball by Howard beats the shift. So Howard's aboard with 1 out in the Philadelphia 6th.
Well, if you had a wish list the Braves supposedly had, including Ryan Dempster or Zach Greinke or others, and let's say the Braves are not successful in acquiring a starting pitcher that they'd like to have. To me, what the signing of Miguel Batista indicated today was a guy who can come in and fill in your bullpen if you then decide to move Chris Medlin into the rotation.
And Freddie Gonzalez, Joe, did address that before the game. And the Braves have not decided on a Tuesday starter yet. But they did say Chris Medlin, if he was available, would probably be available for 1 inning tonight. And then they would figure out whether he would start on Tuesday. Fly ball by Ruiz, right center field. Bourne going back, and Michael reaches up with a left hand and makes the catch. Throw back to first, not in time to get Howard. Boy, did he cover some ground.
This is the scariest play of all for an outfielder. You can't take your eye off the ball. It's tailing away from you, and you got a big diesel bearing down on you.
Yeah, big 6'8" tight end coming at you, full bore.
So you throw your glove out there to try to snag it, and you just hope you don't get run over. That takes some courage.
I'm sorry, Joe. Ask Nate McLeod.
Yes. Tell you what, Michael Bourne we've seen reactions like this from starting pitchers several times over the last 4 or 5 days. Remember Tim Hudson on one that he came running in on in Miami and made a great catch on?
Yeah, that was a game he not only made that tumbling catch, he also threw somebody out at the plate.
That's right. And took that one away from him. Jason too stepped in front of him and made the throw.
Ball 1 to Hunter Pence. Now ball 2 to the Phillies outfielder. Brian McCann out for a visit. Again, if you're following all the trade whispers and rumors, the deadline is July 31st, 4 o'clock Eastern time. That's the last moment that trades, non-waiver trades, are allowed in Major League Baseball.
A little activity there in the dugout, headed to the bullpen. Brian McCann gave Sheets a little breather in the anticipation that this more than likely would be his last inning. Got 2 out. Let's get after this guy.
Good pitch, 2 balls and a strike. Oh, he really buckled Hunter with that pitch. 2-2.
Took a little off it, started a little bit more at his front elbow and get him to freeze just enough where he can't do anything with it.
Pence went to a knee to foul that ball away and stay alive. Johnny Venters is up in the Braves bullpen. That's down the right field line, hit a long way, but that's tailing into the seats.
To say that a guy that's leading your team in homers and RBIs like Hunter Pence has been a bit of a disappointment this year is kind of hard. But at the same time, in the absence of Utley and Howard, he hasn't helped keep this team up near the top of the standings. He's had some streaks where he's been pretty good, but he's had some streaks more often than not where he hasn't.
And this may sound like a knock, and I don't want it to sound that way, but is it fair to say of Hunter Pence that he's a complementary player rather than a cornerstone player for your ball club?
No question about it. I mean, you're going to see a lot more pitches to hit with those other guys in the lineup on a daily basis. No matter who your lineup is, as a pitcher, as an opposing club, you're going to go down the line and say, okay, who am I not going to let beat me? Well, I guarantee you that Hunter Pence and Jimmy Rollins were those two guys when you've got Utley and Howard and all these other injuries going on. And when everybody's in the lineup, you have to pitch to somebody, and he's one of the guys they do.
And that ball is dribbled through the left side. And Pence is aboard with a 2-out hit. Howard stops at second. And Juan Pierre is the scheduled hitter for the Phillies.
Well, now give him credit, because that was a tough at bat. He's seeing a lot of curve balls that were buckling his knees, but that's the kind of hits he's been getting lately that actually got a game winner kind of like that the other day. Some seeing eye hits. So I don't mean to disrespect him at all, because I think he's certainly one of the most unconventional players, but and a good player. But I'm not sure he's the player they thought they were getting when they traded for him last year.
But now that they do have most of their lineup back, we'll find out if he is that player.
That's true. And to your point about being a complimentary player, I agree with you that he's probably more than anybody else thrilled to have Utley and Howard back.
Quick breather for Ben Sheets. Pierre the batter. Juan is 0 for 2. And a quick strike.
Ryan Howard can not run. Still got a bad foot, an ankle. Braves outfielders have a shot if there's a base hit. This is one of those cases where, as an outfielder, if you charge the ball on a base hit and get to it quickly, you force Juan Samuel to say, okay, hold up, we can't go.
Nothing in 2 for Pierre. Johnny Venters continues to loosen up, and he's joined by former Philly Chad Durbin. You've got Mike Fontenot waiting on deck, then the pitcher spot, Cole Hamels.
Behind in the count. I mean, the Braves are already playing Pierre toward the left field line. I think Michael Bourne could even afford to move over a little more to left center as Juan tries to guard the plate.
You know, Ben wants to finish this inning. Pierre spoiled that one to stay alive.
He got a break there. Ben got a break there. That was going to be ball 3.
One pitch you got to be careful with here, with the way they're playing him defensively in the outfield. There's something in where he can hit it down the line.
Bouncing ball towards second. Uggla's got it. It's a season high in pitches for Ben Sheets. And he has a 5-1 lead as this game moves to the home half of inning number 6.
Braves lead 5-1. Now it's time for our Zaxby's indescribably good plays, centered around Ben Sheets. Always had the good breaking ball to go along with a 98+ mile-an-hour fastball. He doesn't quite have anymore, but he still has that sharp breaking ball that he's used for a strikeout pitch tonight. Got a big ground ball out right there on the curveball. And along the way, had a little help from some of his friends, most notably Michael Bourne with this nice catch in right center field. Ben's very appreciative of that, and that was our Zaxby's indescribably good plays.
How about these 3 outings? His first 3 back in the big leagues after missing all of last year. 6 innings each start, only 1 earned run allowed, 1 run period allowed in those 3 starts. Great work.
And Ben accomplished his 6 innings tonight with 94 pitches, the most he's thrown in the big leagues in 2012. Now Cole Hamels out of the game. Jeremy Horst takes over. This is his 10th outing, and he's put up good numbers. As has, fellas, this Philadelphia bullpen of late. They've been tough.
Yeah, they've been really good lately, and a big reason why they've been on that 4-game win streak. A lot of their games have been come from behind, and the bullpen's done a nice job of keeping them in the games and giving them chances to win those games.
And much of that work against Milwaukee. As you see, John Mayberry takes over in left field. He'll be batting 9th. That spot due second when we get to the 7th inning. But 3 straight 7-6 wins over the Brewers for this Phillies club, as Milwaukee's bullpen has absolutely melted down over the last week or so. Paul Janisch earned 2 of the 6 walks issued by Cole Hamels tonight. A new career high. A bullet foul. 2-2.
And it didn't appear that way when the game started for Hamels. He struck out 2 of the first 3 guys, and then Chipper got the double, and then the walk started. He walked 3 in the 2nd inning. Un-Cole Hamels like tonight for sure.
And Janisch is called out. He didn't think much of that pitch. 1 away. And Tyler Pastornicky will bat for Ben Sheets.
Good breaking ball from Horst.
That's Tyler's season work. He's 1 for 6 as a pinch hitter. That's in the air to shallow right. And Hunter Pence has it for the second out. Back to our AT&T U-verse trivia question. It was centered around Juan Pierre and his terrific offensive numbers. And here they are. Since 1990, Pierre's one of only 2 players with 2,000 or more hits, 1,000 or more runs, and 500 or more steals. Can you name the other man?
I got 3 guys in mind. I'm worried about one category with each of them. I'm going to go with...
Well, you can take a pitch or two.
Well, no, I don't want to drag this out any longer. I'm going to go with Ichiro.
I'm going to go Bob Abreu.
And I'm going to say Derek Jeter.
He was one of my guys. Soriano was the other.
And the answer is...
Andy Hoffman.
Of course.
Huh.
You know, she's laughing at us.
Yes,
right now.
Especially when we all pick different guys.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
We do really need to pick it up in the second half on trivia. We've been kind of dominated the last week and a half or so, I hate to say it.
I'll go home and get my baseball almanac and start brushing up.
I'll get Kathy to get the flashcards out, provided that all the rest of the questions are have an answer.
Fly ball down the left field line. Mayberry in the corner, can't make the play, and that's a fair ball. Michael Bourne around second. He's on his way to third, and he's going to stop there.
I wonder if Mayberry thought that ball was foul and wasn't in any big hurry to go get it. Kind of lost sight of him down there.
Yeah, it took a long time once he disappeared, once it deflected off his glove, but yep, clearly in fair ground. Oh, he hit the wall pretty hard.
Yep. Ouch.
Boy, he hit that hard. Couldn't find the baseball.
That is ruled a 3-base error. So let's see if the Braves can get a little more here, up 5-1. Give Mayberry a second or two to clear out the cobwebs. Martin Prado looks for his first base hit. He's 0 for 3. That's a little low. 1 ball, no strikes. Line past third and into left field. It's 6-1.
I'm not sure, and I'll want to take another look or two at this, but it almost looked like Mike Fontenot was charging that line drive.
Yeah, it did.
Well, he played back on one. That didn't work out so well either.
Or it charged him, one of the two.
It actually looked like he was moving in on that ball and caused him to be a little short, even though it tipped off his glove.
So it's 6-1. And Jason Hayward with 2 outs.
Fontenot on the bottom of your screen there on the left kind of lunged forward a little bit and got his legs, didn't have his legs under him to jump for it. Ate him up.
Braves tonight have 6 runs on 5 hits. The Phillies have committed 2 errors. The Phillies have walked 6. Hamels charged with 5 runs, only 3 of them earned.
Well, Phillies might be saying, well, we've got the Braves right where we want them. We gave up 6 runs all 3 games to the Brewers, and at least on 2 occasions came from behind to win 7-6. All 3 games in that series with Milwaukee were finals of 7-6.
Jason fighting hard here, still an 0-2 count. But I think, fellas, it's safe to say that Braves bullpen might be a touch better than that of Milwaukee.
Can't count on that happening again.
Say a little bit better than a touch.
Good crowd tonight. Very into it.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Big doings all weekend long with the Phillies here for 3. Don't forget, those of you who hold tickets for tomorrow's game, it is a night game, not an afternoon game. Big Fox originally picked the Braves and Phillies for a national telecast. That game was dropped. And we will air the game beginning with Braves Live at 6:30 on Fox Sports South. Excuse me, on Sports South. I beg your pardon, Sports South. And then we wrap things up with the Phillies on Sunday afternoon.
I might need you to text me in the morning and remind me.
Okay. Well, if you're here early, that'll be all right.
No, I had it not on there at all. So.
And that will retire the side. Jason Hayward down on strikes, but the Braves add another run. They have scored 6 through 6. Another big night for Brian McCann and the Braves, who is homered against the Phillies for the 6th consecutive game. Amazing.
Martin Prado just picked up another RBI single to get an add-on run. Chipper's had a big night, and Ben Sheets in line for his 3rd win.
6 innings of 1 run, 6 hit, 1 walk, 4 strikeout baseball. As Ty Wigginton will lead things off for the Phillies. He bats for Fontenot. Johnny Venters answers the AT&T call to the bullpen, and Joe had some real impressive pitches against the Marlins.
And this is a team that he has struggled against. They have beat up on Johnny over the last couple of years, including this year. 2 games, inning and 2/3, 4 hits and 2 runs. But his last 2 outings since he came back from the DL, Tommy, have been real sharp.
Well, combination of feeling good and having an opportunity to work on some things. Hopefully that'll get him going.
Two and two. It's only a guess, but with the Braves pitching Mike Minor tomorrow night, might see Wigginton in at third base. Chance for Charlie Manuel to get him in at bat, maybe 2 in tonight's ball game. Once again, the Phillies are playing without Placido Polanco, a great glove man. He's out with a bad back. And Venters overpowers Wigginton. That's the first out of the 7th inning, and here again our Chevron upcoming starting pitchers.
Joe Blanton pitched a real good game here against the Braves earlier this year, back in May. I think he might have even had a shutout for 5 or 6 innings. And Mike Minor coming off 3 real good starts back to back. Let's hope that he can keep that ball rolling.
Blanton coming off a strong outing his last time out against San Francisco, so should be a good matchup.
John Mayberry swings and misses. Fellas, you're right about that Blanton game. Remember the incredible comeback the Braves mounted against Roy Halladay? 15-13 game in 11 innings. Blanton pitched the very next day. And Randall Delgado started for Atlanta, got no run support. The Phillies won 4-0. Quick turnaround before the Braves left town for Colorado.
And Blanton threw a complete game, 3-hit shutout. No walks, 6 strikeouts, 2 hours, 2 minutes. Get on the plane.
He's been eating some innings up for him. Not, 500 records, but his last 10 starts, he's gone at least 6 innings in 9 of them. So he's gone 8 innings and 9 innings 3 times. So I'm giving him a chance.
Full count to Mayberry. Bases empty. 1 away in the 7th inning. We've said it a couple of times at the start of our broadcast tonight. Even with the Phillies so far back in playoff contention at 45-54. They're 14.5 games off the Eastern Division lead. They have historically been, as Freeman at the first base bag handles that cue shot. What scares you about them, Joe, you've mentioned it a couple of times. Their lineup is back. Their rotation is intact. They have been a very successful second half club under Charlie Manuel.
The year that they won the World Championship, I believe that was 08, right? I believe that's right. They made a great comeback against the Braves in the second half that season, like 30 games over 500 or something.
And it seems like they've had a key player out. Utley came back, and that might have been the year from his first bout of leg problems. I think they've had Ryan Howard come back. Now those two are back, and Roy Halladay's back. There's only one team in baseball since 2005 that has a better record than the Phillies after the All-Star break, and that's the Yankees. And something Joe has said all summer long. every loss you can give the Phillies now is a big win for you potentially in August and September.
We all have our little patterns, our little idiosyncrasies that we do every day. We're checking box scores or looking at games. I naturally want to know what the Nationals did, but the next place I go is the Phillies. Did they win or lose?
Rollins aboard with a 2-out walk. And Shane Victorino's the batter. Hope you'll catch Chipper Jones playing in some of his final games with a Chipper Jones 4-game plan. It includes a ticket to 4 Friday games and a set of 4 Chipper Jones commemorative prints presented by SunTrust. Those packages start at $71. Visit Braves.com/Chipper or dial 404-577-9100.
Tom talked about Chipper's legs and hustling into that double, his first hit of the night. I talked about chasing that foul ball that Howard hit. Well, remember, he had 2 days off in a row. He didn't play Wednesday down in Miami, and yesterday was a scheduled day off, so I'm sure he was feeling pretty good tonight.
And it certainly showed at the plate. Chipper with a couple of doubles. He scored a run, and he has tied Pete Rose on the extra base hits list among switch hitters. That's off Venter's wrist. It knocked the glove off, and Victorino is safe. Chipper says timeout, go get your glove. And it's an infield hit.
That's bad enough you get hit in the wrist with it, but you never want to get your glove knocked off.
He doesn't put his hand very far in the glove, though.
No.
So again, the Phillies giving Johnny some trouble in the 7th. A walk and an infield hit with 2 outs. Brings up Chase Utley, who's 0 for 3. And the runners will go, and easily Rollins steals 3rd, Victorino steals 2nd.
Veteran move there. Johnny never even looked at him.
So a hit could score 2 runs for Philly. As that one skips up there, McCann can't find it. Now Brian does behind the plate.
That was the slider that we saw before he went on the disabled list, that 57-footer.
Yeah, that to me is just not keeping that front side closed long enough and then just trying to overpower it instead of trusting it and let it do its thing.
Caught the inside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two and two now to Chase Utley.
Well, you think you'd have him set back up to go to the breaking ball, but the last two he's thrown away have been the 55-footers, so see if he has confidence in it. And he did.
Chase fouled it off.
Took a little off that one, though.
Yeah, a little bit more of a curveball type of break on that one than the hard slider. That was more of the one that he threw for strike one or strike two on the inner part of the plate.
And Utley is aboard with a 2-out walk.
I don't know what it is about the Phillies, but Johnny has trouble with them.
Durbin's getting ready for Carlos Ruiz, who will be the on-deck batter. First things first, you got the left-hand hitting Ryan Howard up there. Phillies have the bases loaded, are down 6-1 as we join you on Friday Night Braves Baseball on Peachtree TV. It's presented by Blimpie.
Howard 2 for 14 with 7 strikeouts against Binners in his career.
A shift is on with 2 out. Strike one to Howard. How big a component was and is Ryan Howard in the Phillies offense? For the last 7 years, the most homers and RBIs among all major league players.
Tough for any team to replace that.
And he's behind 0-2.
Ryan didn't like that call.
Trying to tie him up inside. 1-2 to count.
Like Jason Hayward, Ryan Howard most dangerous when he can get his arms extended.
Freddie wonders where that one was.
Good pitch right there.
I thought that was better than the one he called strike 2.
Yep.
Maybe they're even now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the inning is over. Justice served. Johnny Vetters takes care of Ryan Howard, his second strikeout, and we head to the 7th inning stretch. Braves 6, Phillies 1 in the series opener.
ranked #1 in customer satisfaction nationwide year after year. Experience all the comfort and amenities you expect at an unexpectedly low price. Jameson Inn, Southern hospitality at its best.
Hot night in Atlanta, and the Braves offense red hot, leading 6-1 as we head to the bottom of our 7th inning. Chipper leads things off. As we expected, the Phillies have Ty Wigginton into play at third base. He replaces Mike Fontenot. And Sheets stands to win. 1 run in 6 innings tonight.
Dave O'Brien, beat writer for the AJC, had a good piece today on Chipper and what he's been doing at age 40. Compared it to Cal Ripken Jr. in his last year, who at the time I think was 39. Cal hit like 239, had an OPS of not much better than that. And I was just looking at Chipper, who's leading the team and hitting at 318, and his OPS 896, which includes his slugging percentage. So not too shabby.
Fly ball to right. Hunter Pence over a couple of steps. And that's the first out. Braves hoping to pick up some ground in the East. Here's the race up to the minute. Braves began play tonight 5 games behind Washington. Right now, fellas, it's just a 2-team race with the Mets really scuffling since the All-Star break. And how about Milwaukee? They trade Zach Greinke today, and they're hammering the Nationals, allowing just 1 hit so far at Miller Park.
Well, mark it on your calendar. This is when the fall began.
Yeah, hopefully that bullpen can do a little bit better job than they did in Philadelphia.
No kidding.
Yeah, 6 may not be enough. The Phillies won those 3 straight 7-6 decisions.
Yeah, the Mets have gone out west. They'll try to regroup out there. They had a great pitch game last night, but by their prize rookie, who struck out 10. Harper?
Harvey?
Harvey.
So good for the Mets. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's good for the Mets prospect. They need all kinds of starting pitching help with Dylan G out for the year, Santana disabled. But they've fallen back 6.5 games behind the Braves at the start of tonight's play. High to Freeman, 3-2. That's down the left field line. Careful of that corner, John. And we'll do it again, 3-2.
You know, all this time, Chipper with that sandy blonde hair, it's a good way to disguise some of that. With just the light hitting it the right way, but I think there's a little gray hair showing there. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely.
No gray in his swing, though.
No.
How to play a foul. Well, joining Twitter keeps you young. At least that's what Chipper would say.
Yeah. Caused a big stir getting on there.
Yeah. Full count. And Freeman coaxes a walk. 3rd time tonight that Freeman has been walked by the Phillies.
Brian McCann coming to the plate. Time for our Toyota play of the game, and boy, was it a big one. A 3-run homer for McCann, his 17th of the year. He's up to 54 RBIs, but What a mark. His 6th straight game to homer against the Phillies. Last player to do that in 6 straight against an opponent, Jim Thome against Minnesota in 2002. He's in their head.
What a perfect way, guys, for the Braves to start this critically important homestand. As we said at the start of the broadcast, the Braves are 24-24 at home. And they're taking on the Phillies, the Marlins, and the Astros. Those 3 clubs collectively at the start of play tonight, 49 games under 500. If ever there was a time where the Braves needed a big homestand, this would be it.
It's the perfect threesome to come in here, provided the Phillies cooperate.
Then we want them to get red hot when they leave town because they go play Washington.
Sure would like to see Cole Hamels bounce back and really have a good game his next time out. Marlins breaking up their team 5-11 their last 16 games here in this part.
McCann shoots one to right. Pence drifts back shy of the track and has it for the second out. Let me ask you another hypothetical question. The Marlins were pretty steadfast in saying that Josh Johnson wasn't necessarily on the market. With Hamels signed, with Greinke gone, and Miami, I should say, losing again tonight, what's it going to take to pry Josh Johnson away from that Marlins ball club?
Between now and Tuesday, if they keep losing, maybe not as much as you might think.
Ball 1 to Dan Uggla. And the Braves were raving about Josh Johnson's stuff in his last start.
I was going to say, the way he pitched against them that last time out, that would be a welcome addition.
High pop. Who wants this one? Mayberry in left. Has it. And that retires the side. Braves are done in the 7th inning. Lead the Phillies 6-1 in Game 1. By the Home Depot, by Blimpie, and by Georgia Power. Great night at Turner Field. Great crowd has seen Atlanta's offense score 6 times against the Phillies. Braves trying to go to 5-2 against their Eastern rivals for the season total. After Johnny Venters worked a scoreless 7th inning, he'll give way to Chad Durbin. He answers the AT&T call to the bullpen.
Chad's had a few days rest too. After he had that rough outing against the Giants where he gave up 2 homers He had 2 outings in Washington, D.C. and pitched real well, and did not pitch at all in Miami, so he should be fresh tonight.
And fellas, Chad's one of 4 Braves relievers who have given up only 1 earned run in the month of July. Durbin, Kimbrel, Medlin, and Eric O'Flaherty.
Sorry for that little hiccup against San Francisco. He's been pretty darn good.
And he'll face Carlos Ruiz, who takes a fast strike.
I think one of the things that's made him very effective after the first month of the season, Tom, is his 2-seamer that he's working both ways. He's able to turn it over a little bit into right-handed hitters and cut it in on lefties if he wants to. It's nice when you can work both sides with 1 pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of gives you 2 pitches in 1.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And a sinking line drive handled by Giannis at short. 1 away in the Phillies' 8th.
Yankees had a big problem tonight without A-Rod, huh? He only scored 10.
Wonder if Ichiro hit a home run into right at Yankee Stadium.
It'll be interesting to see if he can get things back on track in that lineup, where he's a little bit more of a piece of the puzzle rather than the guy.
We understand Ichiro didn't homer, but Curtis Granderson did hit a grand slam for the Yankees. Ground ball to short. 2 outs.
I know we've sung the praises of Paul Giannis at times, but can't just can't say enough about what he's done after being picked up. Kind of like Ben Sheets, you know. Paul was in AAA with the Reds. Didn't look like he was going to get a chance to play in the big leagues for him, and he's done everything they asked him to do defensively. Made all the plays, including the routine ones, hit right at him.
Well, you know he's doing a good job because you don't really hear people say much about him.
No.
You know, and that's a compliment to him because, you know, he's doing what they went out and got him for. Had he not been doing that, you'd be hearing the conversations.
That's a good point.
Lance Nix bats for Horst. And it's now a strike. And that got a piece of Brian McCann on the way by. 0-2.
Boy, he gets hit in that spot a lot. Goes right over the top of the glove when the pitch goes down and gets him right on the top of the forearm. Ooh, that was a little higher than that. That was more bicep.
Want to keep this guy honest. Nix has had good luck against the Braves this year. 5 for 9 with a homer and 4 RBIs. But not this time. Durbin, a very impressive 8th inning. 3 up and 3 men down. 6-1 Braves in command. They lead the Phillies at home. McDonald's, by the Georgia Lottery, by AT&T Uverse, and by Ram Trucks. Great start to the homestand for Atlanta, 6-1. Brian McCann's hit a long 3-run homer. The Braves touched up Cole Hamels for 5 in his 5 innings. And we talked earlier about the importance of this homestand. It goes beyond that too, Joe. The schedule for the Braves, at least on paper, looks pretty favorable the rest of the way.
You know, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that that was the case. Fewest games against 500 or better teams in the National League. You bet. Gotta like that. Just don't play down to your competition.
Braves having tonight, as they're trying to beat the Phillies for the 5th time this year. Joe Savory takes over for the Phillies bullpen. And he's been hit awfully hard in his last 5 times out there. 9 earned runs in his last 6 2/3 innings. Giannis has walked twice already tonight, and he's way ahead 3-0. Leadoff walk. And Juan Francisco will come on and pinch hit.
Tommy, I know you haven't been to the new ballpark down in Florida, but let me just tell you this. That was a long way.
Yeah, it looks like it went a long way.
Up in that exit, right below the 438 mark.
When you start hitting them up into the runways out, that's yeah, pretty good poke.
Takes a strike. It's 0-1. Juan hasn't had many at-bats this year against left-handed pitchers. This is his 33rd of the season. He's got 7 hits against lefties on the campaign. In the air toward left center field, and over a couple of steps is Mayberry. He's got it. And back to first is Giannis with 1 man out. Back to the top and Michael Bourne. Michael scored another run tonight. He's up to 68 runs for the season.
Tom gave you that number. When he gets a hit and scores a run, Braves have a pretty good mark.
.68 runs in 99 games.
That's getting it done as a leadoff man.
And now 125 hits as well for Michael.
Probably saved a couple tonight too with that catch he made.
Guys with this man's skill set are awfully difficult to find.
Well, leadoff men are paid to score runs. They're not paid to do anything else but figure out a way to get on and get around and score runs. The fact that he's driving in runs too is a real bonus. He's hit 8 homers, a career high. But it's runs scored, the stat that matters most to a leadoff man.
High pop. Mayberry near the line makes the play. And 2 are out. Well, with runs scored, Michael Bourne tops in the league, 68. Not sure if Andrew McCutchen has scored a run or two tonight. He was 1 behind at the start of today's play for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
And until this year, when he moved into the 3 spot in their order, McCutchen had been a leadoff man a lot.
McCutchen leads the league in hitting. 2nd in home runs to Ryan Braun. And 5th in RBIs.
Triple Crown candidate.
Yeah. And great, too, that he signed a long-term deal with the Pirates. He'll be a big part of their franchise renaissance for years to come. As Martin grounds toward Utley at 2nd, and Rollins handles at the bag to retire the side. On we go to the 9th inning. The Braves in command, leading 6-1 over their arch rivals, the Phillies. Tonight here at Turner Field, it's a 6-1 score, and Christian Martinez will answer the AT&T call to the bullpen as we head to the 9th.
34th game for Christian. His ERA took a little bit of a hit a few outings ago, but otherwise he's done a good job, and only 9 walks against 48 strikeouts. That's always good work.
Back at it tomorrow night. Again, if you're holding tickets, it is not a day game tomorrow. I want to keep reminding those of you around Braves country who will be making your way to Atlanta. Travel safely. If you're in the metro Atlanta area, if you don't have tickets, join us tomorrow, a 7:05 first pitch. We're on the air with Braves live at 6:30 Eastern Time. Mike Minor for the Braves, Joe Blanton for the Phillies. Ball 1 to Ty Wigginton.
And if you thought Ben Sheets and Cole Hamels were working quickly tonight, wait till Blanton gets out there.
Work fast, change speeds, throw strikes. Hamels did 2 out of the 3. Ben Sheets did them all. He was great again.
Big Ben, he's having a few seeds and kind of enjoying the end of the game.
Yes.
Wigginton is down on strikes.
There doesn't seem to be the urgency to ice these days, Tom, like there used to be.
You know, I think for some guys it's just kind of a matter of preference. I would imagine with Ben, with all his health injuries, that he's doing something, but you know, maybe took care of it and came back out. But you know, I mean, again, I think it depends on the guy. If a lot of guys, if nothing hurts, they're not going to ice. They're just going to go with it.
Okay, Tom, for the casual fan watching the game, doesn't understand what the routine for a starting pitcher is. Why does a starting pitcher, any pitcher for that matter, ice after a game?
Well, I mean, it's like anything. It diminishes swelling. It diminishes the the little micro tears or anything that goes on to the muscles that make up the shoulder from all the wear and tear of the pitches. You know, again, I think for a lot of guys it's precautionary. For some guys it's something hurts, so they do it. And you know, obviously icing something that hurts is beneficial, but you know, that's kind of the main thing. But I know for a lot of guys too, it's just purely a routine. They do it no matter what. You know, and for me, I don't know that I ever went very much, if at all, not icing after a game. But I know there were times that with bullpen sessions and things like that, yeah, if something was bugging me and I didn't feel great after a bullpen session, I would ice. But other times, hey, if it felt good and nothing hurt and I was happy about it, then I didn't ice. But I always did after a game.
2 balls, 2 strikes to John Mayberry. His second at bat of the game.
What was the first day after a start? What was your routine when you came to the park that next day?
Boy, it all depended on how you felt. Either an extensive period of time in the training room, and then, you know, you're out in the field, play some catch. For me, I always like to use that second day or that first day to play catch and get a gauge for how I felt, so that I knew what my next 4 days were going to entail in terms of how much treatment I needed or how much time in the training room. And if that felt good and I wasn't so worried about it, then you didn't have to do as much. But usually the day after I pitched would be a workout day, and then the second day would be a big run day. It was a little different than a lot of guys. A lot of guys like to run the day after they start and get that kind of that flush, kind of get all that bad blood out of there. But I kind of liked working out the first day and then getting my long run in on the second day. But that was the way I ended my career, but there was a lot of adjustments along the way.
Mayberry fights off another 3-2 pitch.
Chan pulled this quote off from Ben Sheets after his first start when he came back out in the dugout, and he said, "I've been doing that for my last 4 or 5 years, and it's funny because it used to be I sat and watched 1 inning or 2 innings because I was in the 7th or 8th inning. Now it's getting where I'm watching a little more baseball, and I'm not going to leave my teammates out there to battle for me."
Martinez has had good off-speed stuff in the 9th inning. He strikes out Mayberry, and the Braves are 1 out away.
Good changeup.
So this big crowd of 42,239 looking forward to a fireworks show if Jimmy Rollins will oblige and end this game. Rollins has singled, doubled, and walked. He's also popped out. And he's popped up again. This time Paul Janisch will have it at deep short, and the Braves have beaten the Phillies again. Tonight's final 6-1. Speaking of 6, that's the magic number for Braves catcher Brian McCann. He's homered 6 straight games against the Phillies to support winner Ben Sheets. And we'll try to talk to Brian when we come back.